Hey y'all, welcome back. Today's yoga snack, I want to talk about child's pose a little bit. Child's pose is one of those postures that you see a lot in yoga classes, and it's always used as a way to offer a rest or a break if you're feeling overexerted. I've seen these like different memes on Instagram and social media where it's like my yoga teacher said I could use child's pose whenever I feel stressed, and it's a lady doing child's pose in like a grocery store aisle. And there's a lot to be said about that because it is a more restorative posture. I want to give a couple of cues regarding child's pose and some variations that can still keep it within that restorative context, but ways that can create a little bit more focus on breath and body connection, as well as just a different experience in the pose overall. As always, I'll put some of this below and we'll get started. So I've got my camera tilted down so that y'all can obviously see what I'm doing in my child's pose. So traditionally when you see child's pose, the big toes are together, the knees are separated, and then the forehead is released down onto the ground. And then arms can reach back beside you, and you just let the shoulders be heavy. If that's not as accessible, you can always place a block or a pillow underneath the hips. You can also place something underneath the forehead, or always stack the wrist and just allow your forehead to elevate a little bit. So there's just some variations. You can always have the arms forward as well, but you're just allowing the belly to drop between the thighs, forehead is heavy, and just really settling into that shape. But I want you to think about connecting this to the breath a little bit more and allowing the body to almost serve as like a biofeedback for yourself. Meaning that as I inhale, I can feel the belly expand and as a result press against the thighs to some degree. And then as I exhale, the belly draws in and I can imagine allowing the hips to settle even more towards the heels. If I do that a few times, I can then begin to imagine breathing into the space behind the heart. So as I inhale, trying to expand not only the belly, but the back of the rib cage as well. And with that, you're creating more of a 360 breath. So I'm not focused primarily on the front, but I'm also engaging a little bit more back body awareness. It's all about proprioception and interoception to some degree as well, because it's more of that body focus. But with it, you're creating again that connection between the breath and the body in a really subtle way. A variation that I love to do in child's pose is an extended child's pose, coming onto the fingertips, and as a result, the forehead may or may not touch, and that's okay. But with that, you can start to connect the breath and the body a little bit more actively with every inhale, reaching the fingers forward, and with every exhale, continuing to sink the hips back. So cultivating that opposite sense of energy that we see a lot in yoga. And then some variations from here is taking the hands over towards the side, maybe stacking the palms on top of the other if that feels available, but continuing to send the opposite hip back. So if I'm to the right, my left hip will go back. Take it over to the opposite side, maybe stacking the right palm on top of the left, and then continuing to send the right hip back. And then something that I was in a class the other day and the teacher did this, and I'd never done it before, and I really liked it. And she had us draw the right arm back, so if we were to the left, and then melt the ear onto the left shoulder. So there's a little bit of a twist action, but I feel this actively in that left shoulder stretch. I have a lot of tightness there anyways today, and this is just getting into that in a really nice way. And then I can just breathe into that space, and then obviously taking it onto the other side. So I would melt the opposite ear onto the shoulder as I draw the left elbow back. And then eventually coming back into that extended child pose onto the fingertips. So my fingertips are almost, they call them cupcake hands, like you've got cupcakes underneath your fingers. And you're just allowing yourself to create some space with every inhale, with every exhale, a little bit more softening and release. Just like with your regular child's pose, any of these variations are meant to be more restorative. So you shouldn't feel a lot of strain or effort. It shouldn't feel at all painful or a lot of discomfort, and allowing the breath to really be your guide. So breathing in and out through the nose, cultivating those ujjayi breaths, and really deep belly breathing to breathe into that space a little bit more. Your extended child's pose is going to get into those shoulders in a really nice way, and again, opening up the hips. So you're getting upper, lower body, as well as some spine, and just that breath and body connection, which is always, always good. Again, some of this will be down below. Any questions, please reach out, and I'll see you next time.